here tonight. So here he is, Volkan Oezdemir. So much high-level competition for this man, and he has fared quite well against some of the best fighters in the world. Did get a championship opportunity, perhaps prematurely, January of 2018 against our colleague Daniel Cormier, but he has really resumed his upward trajectory. A win over Alexander Rakic last December put him right back in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, this man came in at the deep end in his first fight, you know, and then before you know it, he was fighting Daniel Cormier, and he's still fighting the best people in the world all the time. Obviously, with the current circumstances, training wasn't ideal, but he's worked on a lot of strength and conditioning. He's feeling stronger than ever, and he still dreams of being UFC world champion. In fact, he says, I think, in his very calm, laid-back manner, he said, 2 more title fights, I'll be fighting for the belt. And certainly, if you can stop the hype of this man, Jiří Procházka, then you never know.
There have been a lot of individual areas of focus for Volkan Oezdemir since that aforementioned title shot, focusing on just becoming more athletic in there, letting his skills take over, but cardio as well, right? Focusing on extending himself over 15 minutes so he can use all of those versatile tools in his arsenal.
And big respect for taking on this opponent, Jiří,
yes,
because this is a dangerous fight in some in some ways, because Jiří, he has a lot to gain, right? But he's not known to the fans, and if Oezdemir gets beat, it's not a good look.
All right, let's get to the tail of the tape. It is brought to you by Toyo Tires, the official tire of the UFC. Volkan Oezdemir out of Switzerland is 30. The Czech Republic's Jiří Procházka is 27. Procházka 1 inch taller. He will have a 5-inch reach advantage. All right, to get you primed for the featured prelim, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding professional record, 26 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Brno, Czech Republic, Jiří Denisa Procházka. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 21 wins, 4 losses. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 205.5 pounds. Fighting out of Freiburg, Switzerland, presenting the number 7 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world, Volkan No Time Oezdemir. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard back in there for this one. Buffer's handing out fist bumps right now. He's gone away from the elbow.
Just getting warmed up.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Jiří Procházka, all the rage, with a lot of avid fans out there. We'll see how it goes. This fight clock is brought to you by Toyo Tires, the official tire of the UFC. Procházka in red, ate an early shot there from Oezdemir, who's in white.
You know, one thing we never mentioned about Oezdemir on his walk-in is the punching power that this man has. I mean, both men can crack. They both possess power. But Oezdemir, as we saw, he has a crazy ability to put people to sleep with one shot. But the big advantage for Jiří Procházka is the reach. He has an 80-inch reach compared to a 75 of Oezdemir. And I said last night when I saw him in the gym and he was shadow boxing, I mean, when you're up close to this man, you're like, man, his arms are so long. And it's such an advantage in a fight like this.
He's a philosophical, thoughtful fighter. You can see some sort of bizarre mannerisms from Procházka in the octagon.
Yeah, he's a bit of a showman. He's playing games, he's playing mind games, trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, but I like it. Look at this.
Beautiful jab. That got Oezdemir's attention.
Wow. He's playing games, he's talking to him. Look at this. I called him Bruce Lee in the fighting meetings.
You did.
I'm like, because he was very philosophical. Look at that, he eats one and he's talking. This man's crazy, but I love it.
Beautiful jab from Procházka. Oezdemir continuously trying to find a home for that patented left hook.
There's definitely some gamesmanship, pardon me, but he's got to be careful. Oezdemir is a man that needs to be respected. One shot is all it takes from this man. you already see Prochazka's face is, you know, it's marked up. It's a little red around there. Uzdemir's found the target. But he's a very unusual man to watch.
Great strength of schedule for Prochazka, coming in, wins over CB Dalloway, Fabio Maldonado.
Oh, see what I mean?
Yep.
It only takes one, and he's had two. There's a little wobble there, seems to have recovered, but, you know, sometimes stop smiling. Now it's not time for games. Now it's not time for this, because Uzdemir, no time is what it's called, because he puts people to sleep fast.
Oh, window here for Prochazka.
You know, for all the books and all the martial arts done, he never read the memo and putting your hands up.
Right. Nice job by Uzdemir to attack that lead leg of Prochazka. A lot of Muay Thai experience for the Czech Republic's Prochazka. Yeah, the jab there.
The fact Prochazka, oh, nice uppercut. Both guys connecting.
Well, you can see why Dana White and the matchmakers put this in this featured prelim slot, pay-per-view top of the hour.
Oh, I was looking forward to this one all week. It's a very curious thing Prochazka keeps doing. He keeps putting his hands together in front of his waist there. See it there? But then he fires a straight right hand. So the punches come from an unusual angle that you're not used to seeing, that your opponent's not used to seeing.
Oh, beautiful kick and a nice counter from Uzdemir.
And in a very bizarre setup, but it worked. You know, it's very unusual.
So definitely an intriguing injection of new talent into this light heavyweight division in Prochazka, holding his own here early against the number 7 ranked fighter in the world.
Yeah, when I watched the tape on him, when I found out he was on the card, I was very excited to see what he could do here. And as Megan said, he was offered a UFC contract a while ago and he turned it down. And I thought that was so smart because he didn't want to blow his chance. He said, when I get to the UFC, I want to take over. I want to be the champion. And a lot of people, you know, well, some people, should I say, they do. They get a little overzealous. They rush it a little bit. And then they lose some fights and they learn on the job.
And there have been a lot of past examples of that. Jimmy Manuwa. Ooh!
Whoa!
Israel Adesanya, guys who want to be able to compete at the elite level as soon as they get here. They don't just want to take part, so to speak.
Yes, exactly. They want to go all the way to the top. But, you know, as I said before, you don't really want to learn on the job when you're in the UFC. I mean, this is a great fight. It's a lot of action. But both guys are finding the target and tremendous output.
Oh, for 205-pounders?
It's non-stop.
Both guys landing jabs a moment ago. Uzdemir just missing on the uppercut.
I mean, it's crazy, 133 strikes thrown so far in 4.5 minutes.
You're talking like a mathematics major.
Well,
tonight.
you know, listen, I like to keep my mathematical prowess to a minimum, but it's their job. Professor Bisping, as I'm known in certain circles.
Man, those 5 minutes just ripped off of that clock. We'll see what these fighters can produce for an encore in round 2. It's yours next.
Oh. All set with your new Toyo tires.
Oh! There's a UFC fighter in my truck.
That's Francis Ngannou. Every set of Toyo tires comes with toughness.
Awesome!
So if I put Toyo tires on my car, I get one too?
Yep.
I'll take him.
Yeah! Still got it! Yes! Woo! Yes! In your face!
Kevin was 9 years old. He said, Mom, I'm gonna be famous one day.
And he was like, you know, Mike, I really need to be able to make more money. What could I do? And I said, well, I've never seen you lose a fight. You know, how about fight?
Oh!
He was like an overnight sensation.
We reached out and said, hey, let's give this Ultimate Fighter thing a shot. It was the highest rating we ever pulled on the Ultimate Fighter.
He did tell me he gonna be famous one day. And that's what he did. But when the kid tell you something, you gotta listen.
In an ability.
All right, here we go. Round 2 of the featured prelim. Yuri Prochazka and Volkan Uzdemir seem like both corners pretty satisfied with the first 5.
See the switching of stances from Yuri. Constantly giving his opponent a different look. Uzdemir a more traditional style. But both men not really looking to kick very much. Both do the talking with the fists.
Nice stick by Prochazka, who really prides himself on his vision, which allows him to get away with some of these unorthodox tendencies. And a nice inside leg kick there, and a high kick.
Oh, he's wobbled. Just as I said, no kicks. He went low, then came high. A little bit of a wobble there. Oh, man! Jeez. Went for the flying knee. Oh, there it is!
Yuri Prochazka!
Baby boy!
Welcome to the big show!
Man!
Volkan Oezdemir is still removed from consciousness. The Czech Republic's Yuri Prochazka lives up to the hype and then some tonight. Stunned silence in this arena.
It was the head kick that hit him first. He went to the inside low kick, then went high. That wobbled him, and then he followed it up like a killer. And man, as you say, that is the way to make your UFC debut.
If you get one chance to make a first impression on this large audience, that's how you do it. The plus 135 underdog Yuri Prochazka cashes tonight.
And here it is, the head kick that started it, and you watch, look at the reaction. He was very wobbly on his feet there. He's probably not thinking straight. Thought about a flying knee, looked for an elbow, lays back, jab, big right hand. I mean, that was it. I mean, you saw the reaction on the chin, and down it goes. Fortunately, Mark Goddard got in there quick, because another punch could have been deadly. But here it is, the jab, right hook on the button, and that was it. And that is all that was needed. Okay.
How good is that? That Bisping camera's here all night, and the coaches in the corner of Yuri Prochazka. Gotta like that effort tonight. The Czech Republic's on the map. Courtesy of that man, Yuri Prochazka. We'll talk to him after this as we continue live from the island.
Donald Cowboy Cerrone is an interesting guy, to say the least. From this to that to whatever he's doing here, Cowboy doesn't settle for just any snack. That's why he reaches for P3, the more interesting way to get your protein. With meat, cheese, and nuts, P3 gives Cowboy the boost of energy he needs to get ready for whatever is waiting around the corner. P3, the more interesting way to get your protein.
All set with your new Toyo tires. Go!
There's a UFC fighter in my truck.
That's Francis Ngannou. Every set of Toyo tires comes with toughness.
Awesome.
So if I put Toyo tires on my car, I get one too?
Yep.
I'll take him.
Yeah! Still got it! Yes! Woo! Yes! In your face!
The UFC 251 prelims on ESPN are presented by Modelo, brewed for those with a fighting spirit. In part by P3, the official protein snack of the UFC. And by Body Armor Sports Drink, superior hydration with no artificial flavors or dyes. What a moment for Yuri Prochazka, Bruce Buffer, to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Goddard's called a stop to this contest at 49 seconds of round number 2, declaring the winner by knockout, Yuri Denisa Prochazka.
Couldn't have drawn it up much better than that. The featured prelim goes to Yuri Prochazka. His last 9 wins have been by knockout or TKO, and the winning streak, Michael, 11 for Yuri.
I mean, that was absolutely sensational. Nobody has done that to Volkan Oezdemir. He has been beaten by decision. Daniel Cormier choked him out, but nobody put Volkan Oezdemir to sleep like that. I mean, that is the way you want to make a UFC debut. A long-awaited debut. Come in here, put on a show, taunt your opponent, live up to the hype, and then knock him out. A former title challenger in the second round in brutal fashion. I mean, the star is bright for this young man. He is going to go a long way. A man that studies martial arts, lives and breathes the sport. And he took a lot of damage, but he didn't seem to care. Smiled and jibed the whole time. There's the jab, a right hook. And this was the start of the fight. I mean, it was just non-stop. Both guys landing. Jiri not phased one little bit. Head kick was the beginning of the end. Wobbled him there, backing him up to the fence. Jab, right hook. That was it. And as I said before, it's a good job Mark Goddard dived in there because he was down for a while. The Czech Republic are on their feet, and Jon Anik is with our winner.
And of course, there is now a new UFC light heavyweight contender. His name is Jiri Prochazka. Congratulations on a huge effort here tonight. I can just feel your fan base starting to swell right now. Congrats. How do you feel?
Thank you. I feel amazing, but the performance was horrible. So much punches.
So the fight was sort of crazy as long as it lasted. We're going to mix in some replays here, but was this the type of fight that you were expecting against Volkan tonight?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I expect more wrestling from him, but that was good.
All right, we're going to show you some of these highlights here. Certainly there was a big head kick, and then you didn't miss when you were following up those shots to separate him from consciousness. Overall assessment of your handiwork on the feet tonight, young man.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. So as we spin this thing forward, he came in with the number 7 next to his name. You're likely going to take that ranking. You said you wanted to arrive at the UFC when you were ready to make a title run.
Yeah.
So how soon might we see you back in the octagon after what we just saw tonight?
Very soon, because I wanted to take a title, and that's all. That's my mission. That's my mission here to but not just the title, but my performance. I need to work on it. You watch that. I was from in some moves very mistakes. So let's go.
Well, your future could not be any brighter. We really enjoyed getting to know you this week, just how thoughtful you are. So congrats on a big one. Safe travels home. We look forward to the encore, my man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very glad for.
All right, Jiri Prochazka, lighten them up. If we had fans to light up here in Abu Dhabi, here's your main card at UFC 251. Coming up in a matter of moments on pay-per-view. You see some of the betting odds here as well. Kamaru Usman has sort of held in that range as the favorite. He takes on Jorge Masvidal. The other title fights, Volkanovski versus Holloway. And the bantamweight belt will not be vacant in a matter of hours. It'll be Petr Yan taking on the King of Rio, Jose Aldo.
Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. This guy was just born a fighter. It's in his blood.
Give him the 3-piece with the soda and just glide out of there, you know.
Something shifted in Jorge Masvidal over the last 2 years, what he calls the resurrection. And he said he's going to start baptizing people. And what he means by that is putting people to sleep.
We don't need no more Ben Askren's in this world. He talks a lot of crap. I'm happy I get to bust this guy in the face and get paid for it.
Oh my goodness!
People say the punches weren't really necessary. Maybe
they were super necessary.
This is for the baddest motherfucker in the game. This is one of those fights that started to build a life of its own.
The winner of the BMF belt.
I think it's a no-brainer if I'm for that title. My body of work speaks for itself, and I'm gonna put on the best show ever.
Hard to sit still after that feature and that knockout, but now to get you primed for the championship triple header coming up on pay-per-view at the top of the hour, here is Megan Oliva.
Well, thank you so much, John. Tonight's inaugural Fight Island card is one of epic proportions with some fantastic matchups and a trio of title fights rounding out this UFC 251 pay-per-view. You know, this is actually only the 6th time in the organization's history that 3 belts have been on the line on the same card. It actually started at UFC 33, which was a very similar situation to the one we're in tonight. 2 champions were attempting to defend their belts, and then 1 belt was actually vacant. So that night, Tito Ortiz and Jens Pulver actually successfully defended and retained their titles, and Dave Menne walked away the undisputed middleweight champion. Now, at UFC 217 back in November of 2017, it was a very different scenario. In fact, all three belts changed hands, shocking fans around the world and making it such a memorable night of fights. Now, we have no idea how tonight's 3 title fights will play out, but we do know that all 6 of the competitors are ready to put everything on the line in order to have that gold belt around their waist and have the right to call themselves a UFC champion. John?
All right, Megan, nicely done. Thank you very much. And I can tell you, Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal are in the building.
Yeah, I don't know if the belts are going to change hands, but these fights are going to deliver. And this, at the top of the bill, Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal stepping up on 6 days' notice. For my money, the most exciting fighter in the game. Last year, knocked out Darren Till. Devastated Ben Askren and then beat the living hell out of Nate Diaz. Stepping up, taking on Kamaru Usman, the man that is so big and powerful. Incredible wrestling, knockout power in the right hands. Put Colby Covington down and out. I mean, this fight is incredible.
Well, earlier tonight, the co-headliners made their way to the Flash Forum. There is the newly minted UFC featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovski.
And here's a man that's really, filling the shoes of a champion now. He went out there, shocked the world, beating Max Holloway. Did it in style, chipped away with leg kicks, solid punches as well. And if you ask Max Holloway, he's annoyed. He feels that he won the fight, and he's coming for revenge tonight.
Max Holloway had to beat Jose Aldo twice to begin his title reign. Volkanovski trying to make it 2 straight over maybe the greatest featherweight of all time tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Max Holloway, one of the greatest featherweights to ever step in there. Feels that, he's not getting the respect that he deserves. He's on a mission tonight.
Also making their way to the forum, there is the talented Russian boxer Pyotr Yan, the father of 2 boys, trying to make good on his first UFC championship opportunity tonight, and it comes against that man who needs no introduction. His future is in the UFC Hall of Fame, but his present is here and now, trying to become a 2-division UFC champion. Kamaru Usman making his way here a few moments ago. With that, we appreciate you all watching the prelims. For Michael Bisping and Megan O'Leary, I'm John Anik. Coming up next here on ESPN, it is SportsCenter, but we hope to see many of you for UFC 251, Usman versus Masvidal, right now on pay-per-view.
This is SportsCenter at night.
UFC 251 inside the Fight Island Octagon, looking ahead to the main event. Usman versus Masvidal on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. NBA's top seeds in Orlando, the return of LeBron, Giannis, Zion 360 dunk were in the bubble. And this day 30 years ago, Bale scaled the wall. Bo, that didn't even crack the top 5 plays of Bo. We got all 10.
I am not so sure that I would pick on Travis Kelce.
What's up, babe?
What's up? Thanks for stopping by. John Butchergross, Kevin Connors, beginning this SportsCenter with the best of the UFC 251 prelims.
The main card underway over on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Usman, Masvidal, the headliners, but there were some fireworks early on Fight Island. Prelim action. Best of UFC 251. Martin Day, Davey Grant. Davey Grant having at it. First fight of the card. First round. Day's going to land a big time right to the jaw drop. Grant, he kind of owned this fight early on, but third round it changes. Look at that. 1-2 combination and Day is out cold. But bam! Michael Bisping going crazy over the knockout. Take a listen to Grant before they raise his arm.
He broke my jaw in the first round. What's that? Broke my jaw in the first round. Yeah, it's broke. I can't feel it. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Better when you win than when you lose and break your jaw.
Yeah.
Grant, third round KO.
All right, Makwan Amirkhani taking on Danny Henry. And Amirkhani with the flying knee to the head. And he takes Henry down. Later in the round, looks in the choke, full control, and Henry goes out cold on the submission, grabbing Henry's legs to try to get the blood flow back to Henry's head. There it is right there. Watch it. Right here, he's going to try to help him out. Oh, that's scary.
Get him up.
Wins by first round submission. He is the clear winner. Up and about, though, is Henry. Good to see afterwards.
Meantime, Buch Volkan Oezdemir taking on Jiří Procházka. Second round, Procházka swinging big, missing. Procházka then a little flying knee. Well, you know, misses that one as well. Then, whoa. That one didn't miss. Big time right hook. Drops Oezdemir. That is right on the money. Michael Bisping, he's going to come out of his seat before this night. This is only the prelims, Bisping. Procházka, the big knockout. Say hello to the bad guy. Chael Sonnen joins us now. Chael, we had some excellent fights and some fighters who really distinguished themselves in the prelims. Who stood out to you as someone who could be a rising star?
I think Procházka's stock probably went up the most. Look, he just stopped Oezdemir. Oezdemir went minutes with Daniel Cormier for the championship of the world. And by the way, Procházka also beat him at his own game, which was fisticuffs. Even Teddy Atlas had to like this guy's hands.
Yeah, he was swinging and landing right there. And obviously a big night for him on the last fight of the prelims. Of course, the main card underway now over on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Jay, let's talk about the main event. How about keys for both fighters and get us started with the champion, Kamaru Usman?
Okay, I think Usman really needs to get Masvidal's respect early. One thing that Masvidal has on his side this entire week is confidence. He truly believes he's going to win this fight. I think when you look at it, I think Masvidal's really up against it. I think he's overmatched athletically, but certainly in terms of knowing a fight was coming up for the last 5 weeks, he thought his calendar was clear this weekend. So conditioning could be a factor. I think enough so to at least be a talking point. I think if you're Usman, you want to establish your authority very fast, very early, make first contact, and make it a little bit dirty. And I don't mean against the rules dirty. I mean, get a hold of him, push him, pull him, grab him behind the neck, loosen him up a little bit, make him breathe hard.
Chael, you know, one of the big stories this week was the 20 pounds that Masvidal had to drop. And of course, he did so yesterday, did make weight. How much of a factor will that be once things get going?
I think we'll be splitting hairs here. By the way, I talked to Masvidal. He wanted me to make it very clear to you and the world he only had to lose 19 pounds and has no idea where this terrible rumor of 20 pounds came from. And he was being very serious. But I've got to tell you, we're talking about a game of inches. As long as he could rehydrate effectively, and I do need to remind you, the weigh-in was yesterday. A 24-hour weigh-in is a tremendous amount of time. I think it's probably just what you said, a talking point, and won't factor into the contest.
That pound came from the pizza that he had in Rome on his way over there to Fight Island. All right, Chael's going to be back on SportsCenter following the main card to break it all down. The pride of West Lynn, Oregon. Chael Sonnen, thanks. Well, chartreuse robe and all, Masvidal will have his work cut out for himself tonight. Usman has won 11 consecutive fights to start his UFC career. That's tied for the third most in UFC history. With a win, he'll tie Khabib Nurmagomedov for the second longest streak behind only the great Anderson Silva.
All right, let's check in on the NBA inside the bubble with the National Basketball Association in Florida. Remember, the 22 teams will play 8 seeding games starting July the 30th to determine the final standings and who will make the playoffs. So the Lakers and LeBron finally make it there. We have a report from Malika Andrews coming up in minutes. But first, let's hear from LeBron as the NBA stinking season.
For the first time, probably since I was maybe 12 or 13. Back playing a game that I love.
We have a realistic chance.
Of experience. Being inside the bubble is like being